As a team of two astronomers, we chose to look at the problem of n-body simulations using Barnes-Hut Oct-Trees and MPI. The n-body problem comes up in astrophysics because gravity is the main governing force of the universe. If you have n bodies interacting through gravity, every single object interacts with every other object. This means that the number of computations scales rapidly. Astrophysical simulations have to tackle the n-body problem. How can we reduce the computational load?
In 1986, Josh Barnes and Pete Hutt created an algorithm that reduces the number of computations from order n squared to order n log n. The main idea is that force calculations don't need to be exact for particles that are far away from each other. We want to group far-field particles together and approximate them by their center of mass. To this end, a tree is used to represent a hierarchical subdivision of space. Let's look at a 2D example. So we have this box with 23 particles in it. The root of the tree represents the entire box. The first level of the tree corresponds to dividing the box into 4 quadrants, represented on the right by 4 branches. In 3 dimensions, you would instead have octants, hence the name Oct-Tree. Each quadrant has multiple particles, so we can keep building the tree. Let's focus on the quadrant highlighted here and subdivide it further. Now 2 of the new branches are empty, and another contains a single particle. But the top right quadrant needs to be divided further until each particle has a cell to itself. In this case, 4 levels are needed to subdivide the space fully. But how do this hierarchy and tree representation help us to approximate the force calculation?
Let's look at the particle highlighted in red here and try to calculate how much force it feels from the rest of the particle distribution. The way to go about this is to work our way down the tree on the right-hand side. At the first level, 3 of the cells are located far enough from our particle that we can approximate their content by the center of mass. At the next level, the highlighted cell is not far enough away to do that, so we account for the closest particle individually while the 2 more distant particles can be approximated by their center of mass. And we're done. We've accounted for all the particles in the distribution by doing only 5 calculations in total instead of 22.
But enough theory. How do we actually implement this in MPI? We do both the tree construction and force computation in parallel. For the tree construction, we have each process construct a local part of the tree, and then we gather the branches. For the force computation, each process walks the entire tree to compute the force on the particles that it has been assigned. Let's look at some results.
We simulate 500 million years of a cluster containing 100 stars. The initial conditions follow a realistic density profile for stellar clusters called a Plummer sphere. Energy is conserved to 2%, and we get a speedup of 7 on 16 processors. Thank you for watching.